Dear listeners, welcome back to English Through Stories. Today we have a very powerful story for you. It is about Oprah Winfrey. Oprah grows up in deep poverty in rural Mississippi. She faces abuse, loneliness, and great pain. But step by step, she builds the most powerful media career in American history. The vocabulary in this story is clear and natural. You will understand every word in its context. Let's begin. A small wooden house sits in rural Mississippi. The year is 1954. The air smells like red clay and pine trees. A baby girl is born inside that house. Her name is Oprah Gayle Winfrey. She has no crib and no warm blanket. Her family is very poor. There is almost nothing to eat. The floor is cold, bare wood. Oprah's mother, Vernita, is very young. She cannot care for her baby alone. She sends little Oprah to live with her grandmother. Her grandmother's name is Hattie Mae. She is a strict and serious woman. She lives on a small farm far from town. The farm is quiet and isolated. There are no neighbors nearby. There are no children to play with. Oprah is very much alone. But Hattie Mae gives her something important. She teaches little Oprah to read. Oprah is only 3 years old. Oprah loves words immediately. She reads everything she can find. She reads the Bible out loud every Sunday morning. The sound of her own voice surprises her. It feels strong and warm. It feels like something close to power. She recites Bible verses at her small church. People stop and listen to this tiny child. They are amazed by her voice and her confidence. One old woman whispers quietly, "That girl is gifted." But life is not easy. Oprah wears dresses made from old potato sacks. She has no shoes for school. Other children laugh at her clothes. They call her names in the dusty schoolyard. The laughter cuts deep inside her young heart. At night, she lies on her small, hard bed. She stares up at the dark ceiling above her. She whispers something quiet into the darkness. I am meant for something more. When Oprah is 6 years old, everything changes. Her mother calls her to come to Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Oprah packs the few things she owns. Milwaukee is a big, loud, cold city. The streets smell like exhaust and fried food. It is nothing like the quiet farm she knows. Oprah feels overwhelmed by all the noise. Her mother works long, difficult hours every day. She is always tired and irritable. There is very little time for Oprah. Oprah feels invisible inside her own home. She sits by the window and reads. Books become her only true friends. But worse things are still coming. Much worse things. At 9 years old, something terrible happens. A family member hurts Oprah deeply. She is abused in a way no child should ever be. Abused. Oprah tells no one. She is too afraid and ashamed to speak. The secret sits heavy and cold inside her chest. She begins to feel worthless. She begins to believe she is nothing at all. The bright little girl slowly disappears inside herself. Years pass slowly and painfully. Oprah is now a teenager living in high school. She is angry, confused, and deeply hurt inside. She begins to make bad choices. She argues with her mother every single night. She skips school and wanders through the cold city streets. At 13, her mother sends her away again, this time to Nashville, Tennessee. She goes to live with her father, Vernon. Vernon Winfrey is a very different kind of man. He is calm, quiet, and firm. He believes deeply in discipline and education. Discipline. Vernon tells Oprah the rules on her very first night. You will read one book every single week. You will write a report on each book you read. Oprah is frustrated and angry at first, but she obeys her father. Slowly, something inside her begins to wake up again. She starts to feel that old fire returning, that bright, warm fire she had as a small child, the fire that says, "I am meant for more than this." At 16, Oprah enters a local speech contest. Her voice is clear, warm, and full of feeling. She wins first place without any hesitation. A local radio station hears about her. They call and offer her a small part-time job. She will read the news on air after school each day. Listeners stop what they are doing when she speaks. Her voice reaches through the radio and touches people. Something about it is different from everyone else. But then, before any of this can take root, something dark happens. At 14, before the radio, before the contest, she discovers she is pregnant. The baby is born far too early. The tiny baby does not survive. Oprah sits alone in a cold hospital room. She feels completely broken. She feels like her life is already finished. She feels like she has lost everything all at once. But a quiet thought comes to her in that cold room. It is soft and small, like a whisper. This pain will not define you. She holds that whisper like a small, warm light in the middle of all that darkness. She does not let it go out. Oprah is now 19 years old. She is studying at Tennessee State University. She works hard and earns good grades. One afternoon, a television station calls her. They want her to audition for a new role. They want to put her face on television. Her professors are not happy about this at all. They tell her to stay focused on her degree. They say television is a distraction. Distraction. Her classmates whisper behind her back. She thinks she is something special. She will fail. Just wait and see. Even people at the television station have doubts. They look her up and down and say very little, but their silence speaks very clearly. One producer pulls her aside before her first show. He speaks to her in a low, careful voice. You are too emotional for television. You get too involved with the people you interview. That is a weakness, not a strength. He walks away without looking back. Oprah hears these words. They sting like something cold and very sharp. She goes home to her small apartment and sits alone. The apartment smells like old wood and strong coffee. Rain hits the window in slow, heavy drops. She looks at her own reflection in the dark glass. She thinks about her grandmother's cold farm. She thinks about the potato sack dresses. She thinks about the dark ceiling and the whisper. She thinks about that little girl, the one who had nothing. The one who still said, "I am meant for something more." Is she still that girl? She picks up the telephone. She calls the station back. Her voice does not shake even slightly. "I will take the job," she says. It is a small, struggling talk show in Baltimore. The ratings are very low. The producers do not expect very much. Ratings. They give her one single chance. Just one. Oprah walks into the studio early the very next morning. The lights are bright and warm on her face. The camera is large and very close to her. She sits across from a regular person, a stranger with a real and ordinary story. And she does something no one on that team expects. She leans forward. She listens with her whole body. She looks at that stranger like they are the most important person alive. The camera loves it completely. The audience at home loves it even more. The phone lines at the station light up immediately. Something extraordinary is beginning. But outside that warm, bright studio, a storm is building. A powerful man in the television industry is watching her, and he is not pleased with what he sees. He wants to remove Oprah from her role entirely. He says she is too raw, too real, too much. He begins to make quiet calls behind her back. Behind her back. Oprah does not know about this man yet. She is still smiling under the warm studio lights. She does not know what is waiting for her tomorrow morning. The next morning, Oprah arrives at the studio very early. The receptionist will not meet her eyes. The other staff members are unusually quiet. Her producer calls her into a small, windowless office. He closes the door carefully behind them. He speaks in a low and very measured voice. "There are people who want to replace you. They say you are not the right fit for this show. They want someone more polished." Polished. Oprah feels the cold shock move through her body. She breathes slowly and very steadily. She does not cry in front of him. She walks alone back to the empty studio floor. The lights are still warm. The chairs are still set up for the morning show. She sits down in her chair. She places both hands quietly on her knees, and she waits. The audience begins to file in slowly. They take their seats and look around with curiosity. They do not know what almost happened that morning. The camera turns on with a low hum. A small red light blinks once. Oprah looks straight and steady into that little red light, and she smiles. A full, open, completely fearless smile. That day, the ratings climb again. They go higher than they have ever gone before. The powerful man behind the scenes makes no more calls. But the real surprise arrives exactly 1 week later. A letter comes to the station addressed to Oprah directly. It is from a producer working in Chicago. He has seen short clips of her show. He calls her voice unforgettable. Unforgettable. He writes that he has something in mind for her, something much bigger than a small Baltimore talk show, something that could change everything she knows about her future. Oprah reads the letter 3 full times. She folds it very carefully along its creases. She puts it in the pocket directly over her heart. She carries it close to her heart all day long. That evening, she walks home alone through the city. The streets hum quietly with the sound of ordinary life. The sky above the buildings turns gold, then deep purple. She thinks about that small wooden house in Mississippi. She thinks about the cold floor and the dark ceiling. She thinks about the little girl with no shoes. And she smiles again, a slow, deep, knowing smile, because she knows something now. She knows that the pain was not the end of the story. It was never the end. It was only the beginning. The journey is not over. It has barely even begun. What is waiting for Oprah in Chicago? What does the producer see in her that others do not? Find out in part 2 of this story. Before you go, let's review the most important words from today's story. The first word is isolated. Isolated means far away from other people or places, with very little contact with the world. In our story, Oprah grows up on an isolated farm with no neighbors and no children nearby. The second word is recite. Recite means to say something aloud from memory, word for word, often in front of others. In our story, Oprah recites Bible verses at her small church as a very young child, and the people are amazed. The third word is overwhelmed. Overwhelmed means to feel so much emotion or pressure at once that it becomes very hard to cope. In our story, Oprah feels overwhelmed when she first arrives in the loud, unfamiliar city of Milwaukee. The fourth word is abused. Abused means to be treated in a cruel, harmful, or violent way by someone who should protect you. In our story, Oprah is abused as a young child, and she carries that pain alone for many years. The fifth word is discipline. Discipline means the ability to follow rules, work hard, and control your own behavior with focus and consistency. In our story, Oprah's father, Vernon, believes deeply in discipline, and he requires her to read 1 book every week. The sixth word is distraction. Distraction means something that pulls your attention away from what you are supposed to be doing. In our story, Oprah's professors call her television opportunity a distraction from her university studies. The seventh word is ratings. Ratings means the number of people who watch a particular television or radio program at a given time. In our story, the show Oprah joins has very low ratings before she arrives, but they rise quickly after her first broadcast. The eighth word is extraordinary. Extraordinary means going far beyond what is normal or expected. Truly remarkable and very rare. In our story, something extraordinary begins the moment the studio phone lines light up after Oprah speaks on air for the first time. The ninth word is polished. Polished means smooth, controlled, and highly professional in appearance or manner, without any rough edges. In our story, the powerful people behind the scenes want to replace Oprah with someone they consider more polished. The 10th word is unforgettable. Unforgettable means so powerful, moving, or beautiful that you simply cannot forget it, no matter how much time passes. In our story, the producer in Chicago calls Oprah's voice unforgettable, and that single word changes the direction of her life. Now, let's look at some phrases that real people use every day. The first phrase is meant for something more. This means a deep inner feeling that you have a special purpose or a bigger future ahead of you. In the story, we hear, "I am meant for something more." You can use this phrase when you feel that your current situation does not yet show your full potential. The second phrase is give up on yourself. This means to stop believing in your own abilities, your dreams, or your own future. In the story, we understand that Oprah never gives up on herself, even in the very darkest moments of her life. You can use this phrase to encourage someone who is struggling and needs to keep going. The third phrase is behind your back. This means when someone does or says something secretly without telling you directly to your face. In the story, we hear that the powerful man makes quiet calls behind Oprah's back to have her removed. Use this phrase when someone acts in a secretive or dishonest way without your knowledge. The fourth phrase is the right fit. This means the right person or thing for a particular job, role, or situation. In the story, we hear, "They say you are not the right fit for this show." You can use this phrase in job interviews, relationships, or any situation where compatibility matters. The fifth phrase is carry something close to your heart. This means to hold something deeply and personally important, to keep it in your memory, your emotions, or your spirit. In the story, we hear that Oprah folds the letter carefully and carries it close to her heart all day long. Use this phrase when you want to express how much something or someone truly means to you. Thank you so much for listening all the way to the end today. That was not easy, and you did it. Every story you hear in English makes you a little bit stronger. Every new word you learn opens a new door for you. Do not forget to subscribe so you never miss the next story. Part 2 of Oprah's journey, her arrival in Chicago, is coming very soon. Until then, keep reading, keep listening, and never stop believing in yourself. See you next time.